What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Baddog back with a video. Yes, and it's a Giants video this time. Hallelujah! New York Giants video. Sorry, I really haven't reported on the New York Giants. It just hasn't really been anything to report on in my estimation, or nothing that really was pressing. Marcus Golden signed his tender. Kind of thought that was a foregone conclusion, as I'm sure most people did. Nobody signed him on the open market. We'll get into Marcus Golden in a second. Yeah, Leonard Williams got a little bit banged up, and again, I just didn't feel like that was really that big of a deal. I am back to working full-time, at the office now, the 9-hour days again. I'm still coming home. I'm running. I'm still trying to work out because there's no gyms here in New York. So when we actually get back to being able to get in the gym whenever that glorious day happens here in New York, I want to be ready to go. I don't want to get in there and pull muscles and everything else. So I'm trying to stay as in best shape as I can. So really, again, and of course the Yankees and the Lakers are back. So a lot of live streaming. It's just been hard to really find anything to talk about with the Giants. And even this video isn't really any pressing news. They started training camp today. I know Joe Judge at his press conference and everything else. And I kind of want to talk about Joe Judge and the New York Giants. And normally, a first-year head coach is going to have a difficult time taking over a team like the New York Giants that are in complete and utter disarray. They are. They won 12 games in the last 3 years. They're not a good team. Nobody expects them to be a good team again this year. Got a lot of holes still to fill. Thought we had a great draft, but obviously there's a lot of things that need to go right for the Giants to be competitive this year. This whole pandemic thing has certainly not helped Joe Judge, and he has a very, very unenviable task. Guys like Mike McCarthy and Ron Rivera, they're with the team for the first time, in their career. Mike McCarthy's coaching the Cowboys, Ron Rivera's coaching the Redskins, and while that may be harder for them, players got to get acclimated to the system, everything else, they have been at this level before. They probably can handle this, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that Joe Judge can't handle this, but Joe Judge has never been more than a wide receivers coach and a special teams coordinator. Now, he has coached under the greatest coaches in the history of football, both at the collegiate and the NFL level. I think that gives him an advantage. His no-nonsense style, his no-nonsense attitude, the fact that he seems like he's a football guy, I think he's going to take this challenge on and punch it right in the nose like he wants his team to do to the opponents for 60 minutes a game. But it is unenviable. This is something that they've never seen before. We don't get any preseason games. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you don't need 4 preseason games. But you really do. I mean, the first few games, you're getting the starters warmed up. You're getting them hit. They're getting hit. They're getting in football shape. There's only so much you can do in the weight room that doesn't get you in football shape, that doesn't get you hit. They don't do this in practice. This is how you figure out your positional battles and where guys are going to start, which guys you're going to keep. It's one thing to scrimmage against your own team or to practice without getting crushed going across the middle. It's another thing to actually play a live opponent. It's going to be very difficult for Joe Judge to figure this out. I would not want to be in that situation figuring out how do you know who to keep and who not to keep based on practice. That's why this is really difficult. Now, luckily for him, he's got a guy like Jason Garrett who's coached in this league for many years, and I know Cowboys fans really don't like him, but Jason Garrett enjoyed a certain level of success with Dallas, and I think a guy like that is certainly going to help him. But again, there's a lot of holes in this team still. We still don't have a pass rusher, and that's what's going to bring him to Marcus Golden. I know a lot of Giants fans love Marcus Golden. He had a big season for us. I get that. But if you look at his history, he's never had a good season when he hasn't had a James Bettcher system. The Giants let him go for a reason. They brought in Kyler Fackrell for a reason, for the familiarity with Patrick Graham. So they brought him in here for that reason. There's a reason nobody signed Marcus Golden. There's a reason nobody's picked up Jadeveon Clowney. Now, I'm not saying that Marcus Golden can't contribute here, but I think that he's going to be best suited as a situational third down pass rusher, and I don't know what else. It's not like he's a great coverage linebacker or anything else, and again, I really don't know how he's going to fit into Patrick Graham's scheme. There's a reason that they let him go. So, again, we still don't have that pass rusher. I'm hopeful that this offensive line can come together. Nate Solder's opted out. I did the video on that. It's probably the last Giants video that I did because that was actually kind of important. I know a lot of Giants fans hate Nate Solder and think he's a bum, but again, he's a veteran presence, and we really don't have a veteran presence on this line outside of Zeitler. There's talk about Nick Gates competing for every position, and I thought Nick Gates did a nice job at right tackle last year, but if Nick Gates is competing for every position on the line or can compete, I don't know how good our offensive line is if that's the case. Now, I don't really think he's competing for left tackle or left guard. I think you're going to see Andrew Thomas and Will Hernandez there to start the year. I do think from the center over to the right, though, you could say, I also don't think he's going to take over for Kevin Zeitler at right guard. I think he's competing for right tackle and center, but of course, Joe Judge has said everybody's going to compete for their position. So, that he's going by what he said pretty much. But it's going to be very interesting as we go forward in training camp. And again, this is just something completely different for all coaches. But again, the fact that he hasn't coached, Joe Judge hasn't coached at this level, in the NFL, man, it concerns me a little bit. I feel like Joe Judge's attitude, he'll take this head on, and I think that he's going to get good input from his coordinators, and I think they'll figure it out. But I do think that it's going to be difficult, again, because he hasn't dealt with, he hasn't been a head coach, and I mean, what a situation to take over. This poor guy has had to deal with this pandemic. He's had to deal with DeAndre Baker. He's had to deal with a drunk kicker like Mike Vanderjagt. He's had to deal with Nate Solder, his veteran lineman holding out. He's had to deal with a lot of crap already. Even if this was a normal year, that's a lot of crap for any coach to take on, let alone a first-year coach. And then on top of it, add a pandemic and add the fact that there's no preseason games to actually figure out which guys are good. He's going to have no game film to look at going into week one. That's even if we have a season, and I pray that we do, because if baseball's having a hard time containing this thing, I don't know how football is going to do it unless they decide they're going to throw a bubble out there. I really don't know what the NFL's plans are. We all know that Roger Goodell is a train wreck as a commissioner anyway, so I really don't know what to expect from the NFL. I don't know what to expect from the Giants. It's a strange thing. I'm glad that training camp's back. I'll be monitoring training camp. I'll try to get as many videos out as I can about the training camp. But again, I just want to know what you guys think about Joe Judge. I mean, do you think Joe Judge can get this done? What do you expect from Joe Judge, the coaching staff for the New York Giants in training camp? Let me know what you think in the comments section. As always, thank you for watching, guys. If you made it this far, I'll be live in like 3 hours for the Lakers. Hope to see you over there. Until then, it's the Bad Diggity Dizzle, and I am gone. Peace!